All brought to you by Hartley and Hartley Insurance, your trusted family-owned insurance experts in the Puget Sound area. Look at the kiddos.
Can't hear
you. I'll put you away for a second. This is my favorite part. I love when he does this. Garafolo brought to you by Hartley and Hartley Insurance, your trusted family-owned insurance experts in the Puget Sound area. Proudly serving the Puget Sound area since 1978. Honesty, fairness.
All right. Biff,
you're the best. You're the best. You tell Dad you're the best. You know you're the best.
Can't hear
also, Zogs on Fox Island.
You can't hear him, thank God.
The perfect spot to grab a cold beer, hang out with friends, and catch the game. Check out Zogs on Facebook. Also, Instagram for fall hours and event times.
Say bye, Puck.
Mike Garafolo.
Say bye.
Joins us from the Limbeck Lumber Studios. Bye, Vivian.
Say bye, Puck.
Bye.
Say, I wish I could stay, but Dad's not letting me, so I gotta go. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. I gotta go do homework.
I don't have homework.
Yeah, I know.
Lots of homework. No one likes homework. I don't care how old you are. It never ends. Oh, look at you, girl dad. Just doing great.
Yep. Just got back from vacation. Or as you know, the smartest thing Ian Rappaport ever said Stop.
Is you need a vacation from the vacation?
No, he said they're not vacations when they're with kids, they're trips. I was like, that's the smartest thing you've ever said.
You know what?
Stop.
It's true. They are just trips.
They're just trips. They're not
because
vacations.
you're still parenting.
If they're there. It's not a vacation.
What grade is she in again?
She's in pre-K3. Yes, Vivian. What?
Print out?
No, not right now. A little later. Okay. All right. We got to go. Seriously, dude. Okay. Everybody thinks she's adorable. Here it comes. Viv, time to go. Okay. Thank you. I love you. Bye, Uncle Puck.
See you, Viv.
Okay. You got to go. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. All right. Just start it. She's not going anywhere.
Okay. Well, if you could franchise tag her, would you?
What's the number at her position, at her age group?
That's a good one.
Stop.
25 million, 30.
It's probably what she'll wind up costing me over the course of her life.
You know what they do? They get more expensive as they get older.
Colleges and weddings.
You wait till she discovers Starbucks.
Starbucks, huh?
You wait till
she has discovered Starbucks. She had a cake pop yesterday.
Oh yeah, but I'm just like when they really discovered. I took the 15-year-old in there today, and it's a mortgage now for a Starbucks.
No, I didn't.
Like, what are we doing? I don't know why we're spending so much money.
Both of it.
Okay, take it.
I want both.
Here, scissors. Take the scissors. Go.
Yeah, scissors. Run around the house with scissors.
Yes, run with them. Go crazy.
Is she more like you or mom?
Huh?
Is she more like you or mom?
She's more like me.
Yeah.
Runs
a little hot.
Runs a lot hot. But I've told Jess that the intensity of her tantrums is me. The length is her.
Oh, so you're short and quick. God,
yeah,
you and I are exactly alike.
She takes forever to get over it. So
yeah. Well,
that's her mommy.
Yeah, that's it. Where do you want to start? What's the big news this week in the NFL? The salary cap's going up again. How many? It just keeps going up, like every year.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, it's gotta. You would think. I mean, look. So then they add the 18th game, and then that's more revenue, and that's how they're going to get the players on that. Is that it's going to be, another week of you playing, but look at all this money. I mean, that's how they got them on 17, and the thought was once you get them to 17, you're going to get them to 18. So that's the thought process on that one, and they're going to get there eventually, and it'll be another influx of revenue, and it'll raise the cap even more. It's they're doing it for all the things that I can along the way say, is this necessary? It all generates revenue. Right. And in the end, they get to say every year the cap's going up because the revenue's going up. So that's where we are.
Where's Carmen at, by the way?
She bailed right before you brought me up.
See, because Carmen gets it. She's older. She understands it's show business time for Daddy.
I think she was just getting bored. Like it just said we were backstage and she was waiting, and she just she's like, I've had enough.
Is she more? If you had to pick one of the two that would maybe follow in your footsteps. Who would it be?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, they all like Vivian says she wants to be a baker. She wants to bake desserts because she likes to eat desserts.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's real. I don't know when you start listening to your kids, they're like, yeah, she may be what she's saying, or
Sure.
I mean, my sister famously, I don't know what grade she was in. She hasn't lived this down yet. My parents remind her all the time. She said she wanted to be a cashier. That was her. All the kids were, rocket, astronaut, president. My sister wanted to be a cashier. Lawyer. Yeah,
it reminds me of a funny story. This just came up, I don't know, maybe a month or two ago. My son, who's 11, we got in a discussion. What do you want to do? And he goes, yeah, garbage truck driver. And you got to be careful how you answer that one, right? Because I'm like, that's a solid work. That's a solid job. That's a necessary job. I don't want to put anybody down that I love the guys that pick up my garbage. And I just said to him, hey, can we aim a little higher? Just a little higher. Nothing against the guys that are driving around garbage truck. I don't want to offend anyone that does that.
Right.
Please.
Right, but you didn't need any school for that, and you put him through all the school. And you could have skipped all that. In fact, you could have started earlier.
We can start now. We can get you. We can get you an early license. You can start driving now. So let's just go a little bit higher. But hey, if that's your fallback plan, that's your fallback plan. Okay.
Everybody needs a safety school.
Everybody needs a safety job. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's good. I like cashier. Did your sister end up being a cashier?
No, she got her master's. She's a teacher. She works in the school. She's
yeah.
And after school, she goes to the supermarket, and they don't have cashiers. They have just the automated thing.
I know. We've made those people obsolete now with the self-checkout stuff.
Yeah.
Although you still need the one person there because there's always the person in the self-checkout that doesn't know how it works, and then the red light goes on because they've done something wrong, and then that poor person's got to come over there.
Through no fault of my own, sometimes I'm like, I'm a smart guy, and even I need the help from that person.
Well, sometimes it's tricky, right?
Sometimes it's like you scan, there's two barcodes and you accidentally scan the wrong one.
Yeah.
There's some kind of manufacturer's barcode and then a store barcode or whatever. I've done that. That set it off. Sometimes I've scanned it. It didn't beep and I hit it again and then it double scans and you're like, I didn't mean to do, yeah. And again, I'm a smart guy.
Put something wrong. Like you put something too early in the bag. And all of a sudden, no, you didn't scan that. You didn't scan that. Why
sometimes
is that in the
kids, and sometimes the kids will, drop something in the area. It's like unscanned item, so yeah.
I don't know if I could do a cashier. The way that people treat the cashiers nowadays, not worth it. Not worth it.
The way that people treat everybody.
That's
my goodness.
It's bad. It really is bad.
They're garbage men. They're cashiers.
Yeah,
they're insiders. Some of the comments I get on Twitter, some guy complained that the news wasn't big enough the other day when I posted something. Must be the offseason. It is. Way to go, Einstein. You cracked the code.
How do you respond to those people?
I don't. And okay. I don't even read them. I'm making Rappaport sound like a genius, but this is the second one. The second one that he said, he's probably up to like 4, but I can only remember 2. And the second one, because I already gave you the first one, the trips, vacation thing.
Yeah.
The second one was don't read the comments. And I was like, yeah, but no.
It's so hard.
Don't read them. Know.
It's hard.
Don't read them. There's not, and I feel bad because at some point when he finally got through to me, I'm like, I'm just not going to read them.
Yeah,
I'm not going to read them.
Yeah.
And at some point when he finally got through to me, and I'd accidentally read one, and I'd be like, well, he was right. Every time I dip in, I go, well, let me just see how the water is now, and I go, no, it's actually worse.
You idiot!
It's hotter.
You know what I find though, if you respond back,
you can't win.
No. But you diffuse. There's a way to diffuse it.
No,
just trust me on this one. You just
there's
say,
not.
If somebody calls you a name, you say, hey, sorry you feel that way, but thanks for listening and following. And then I swear to God, 9 times out of 10, they'll go, oh, well, I didn't mean it. It was a bad day. They're not expecting you to respond.
Right. So why are you responding to that if it's not even genuine?
I don't know, because it's fun. It's a little game I like to play.
When Twitter started X, which is a dumb name for
Just
an app.
call it Twitter. I don't like calling it X. Twitter sounds better.
It's like, well, I posted on X. Like, change it from Twitter to something that sounds like another app, but X does not sound like another app. When it started to really, because when it first started, it was like, oh, like this interaction with people. It's
fun.
Great.
Yeah.
But when it really started to take a dive, I was like, who are these people? Like, who are these people?
Yeah.
Who are these people? And then my uncle signed up for Twitter. And I started to see some of his replies.
Is it
and
the same uncle that hates the Eagles or Roseman?
Used to, yes.
Okay.
Yes, used to.
Nice.
And his comments like fit right in the way he was responding to Pro Football Talk and Awful Announcing and all these. And I was like, wow, they just read that. That's who these people are. They're Uncle Pete. No idea. Had no idea. Thought they were raging psychopaths. Apparently, they're normal people.
Yeah.
And then when you say like you diffuse them, the only way to diffuse them is to meet them in real life, right? And they'd never say any of this to your face, right?
Sure.
The old who did it? Was it Jimmy Kimmel did the skit where Robbie Cano was going back to New York? Did you ever see that one?
No, and he would confront people
after he signed with the Mariners. It was his first game back in New York, and they had this big picture of him.
Yes.
And they were like, "You tell Robbie Cano what you think about him, right? Bo, you suck." And then he would walk out from behind. Oh, hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
100%. I gotta go back. I do vaguely remember that now. Yeah, because of course that's how it is, though. That's how everybody is. So we have this thing because you're being an old sports radio guy. You'll appreciate this.
Yeah.
So in radio now, we still had it a year ago when I was working there. No one calls anymore. There's like Philadelphia probably is the only place that still takes phone calls, and I don't know, maybe in New York at the Fan, but out here like just no one takes phone calls anymore.
Really?
None. It's not a thing at all.
Wow.
It's just no. And, and that's weird, right? Because that's what sports radio is all about on WIP, the Fan. It's phone calls. But it's been replaced by a text machine where we have this separate machine where you text into the show.
Right.
And it's the worst because you can't see their names. You don't hear their voices. It's just a number. And I mean, the shit that used to be said on that thing, you're like, oh my God. Like, I mean, vile. Because there is no Twitter handle. There's nothing. It's just a number. I mean, there's a couple times, like long time ago, I would call the number and be like, listen up, you son of a bitch. Would you come on down here? I mean, it was bad. That's the worst. That's the worst.
And what kind of response would you get?
I'm sorry. I just, it's just a bad day.
Bad
day. My bad. Just a bad day. I didn't mean anything by it. The life of it. So, I don't know. We went in the salary cap keeps going up.
Well, look, here's where we are. Okay. Combine starts on Monday.
Yeah.
Or at least I get there on Monday.
You cover that, right?
Yeah. We'll be there Monday to Thursday. We've got insider shows on NFL Network.
Great.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll have interviews with some GMs and head coaches. John Schneider did a great job with us last year. In fact, gave us a nickname, the Outsiders, he called us, which was great. That kind of stuck. It was my fantasy football team name this year with a picture of me and John together. So he was a good guest. Nick Casario was a great guest last year. So we're going to have some guests this year. And look, it's when stuff starts to become solidified. Right now, it's kind of like if you ask me what's the deal with the Rams and Matthew Stafford, since the playoffs, it's kind of been like, I don't know, man, this could be it. I think it might be it. I think it's run its course.
Talked about it last week. It feels very real because they hired his friend, his buddy, the Giants did.
Yeah. But that Chad Hall was with the Giants guys in Buffalo. Like everybody blew past that. Was like, oh wow, it's Matthew Stafford's brother-in-law. Yeah, but also a guy that they knew because they worked with him in Buffalo, where Matthew Stafford didn't play. Take a breath, everybody. But now it'll start to get more solidified. You'll get a bunch of non-answers, but you'll get some answers next week. And even in the non-answers, you can start to kind of figure out between. And this is where they're going to have their meetings. Whether it's Matthew Stafford or Kirk Cousins and the Falcons have had no communication. I mean, they maybe in the last 2 days, I haven't checked, but as of a couple of days ago, still had no communication. They will there. Because a lot of times, these agents have multiple clients, and it's like, well, they want to meet on this guy. And then also, oh, yeah, by the way, what about one of the great stories of all time was Sean O'Hara and Michael Strahan were repped by the same guy. And the Giants tried to meet the O'Hara's reps met with the Giants at the scouting combine, and Jerry Reese was the GM at the time, and Jerry was very early in his, maybe in his first year as GM. In fact, I think it was. And Jerry wasn't good at the whole, like, I got to deal with agents now. And so they had this meeting, and Jerry just just like out of the meeting, gone. And then like everybody still had to like clean up the pieces. And okay, well, don't worry, we'll come back on that. It's like, no, this was your chance. And like, Sean's going to be a free agent. He's going to hit the market. They go to meet with Jerry and company the day before free agency about Strahan to lay the groundwork for, because they rep Strahan as well, to say, hey, Michael wants a raise, and it's if not, he's not going to show. And so he didn't show up for training camp. If you remember, it was his last camp. He didn't show up as the whole story. And so that day and on the way out the door, I was like, oh, by the way, what about O'Hara? And they said, well, we tried to talk to you at the combine. We wanted, X, Y, or Z. And Jerry was like, well, we can do that. Well, we tried to have that conversation 2 weeks ago at the combine. So anyway, that's a long way of me saying that's kind of how it, you're meeting about. And by the way, okay, so can we finally talk about the quarterback here? So Cousins will get clarity. Derek Carr will get clarity. Matthew Stafford will get clarity. And, at that point, you'll start to understand what we're going to have as we get closer to free agency. Might have some resolutions, might have say, look, we're moving on from whether it's Carr or Stafford or whatever, and that news will trickle out. So we're inside a week to actually figuring out what the heck is going to start to happen here in the NFL as we get closer to the start of the league here.
All right, do you expect to talk to Schneider again
on the show?
Yeah.
I don't know. Our requests are in. It's like, when can we fit in? Our show is at night now. It was during the day.
Yeah.
Last year, if I'm not mistaken, were we still during the day?
Well, when you see him, you have you seen him lately? I got a tweet from a guy. He is turning into Sasquatch. Look at this. Can you see that? Look at him.
Hey, what the puck sports is going on with John Schneider? He's transforming into Sasquatch.
Look at him. He looks just like him.
I saw him in Mobile, didn't I? I think I saw him at the Senior Bowl. I think he was pretty well kept.
Hey, if he wasn't a GM in the NFL or a president, what would he be doing? I know what he is. He's a gun smuggler.
A gun smuggler.
He's smuggling weapons.
Do you have to smuggle guns? I thought the Republicans.
He's an arms dealer. Yeah, he's an arms dealer.
What's Jim's comment? Hey, Robbie, if we can get him to part his hair the other way,
they'll be identical twins. Yeah. No, he looked like he'd be an arms dealer for, I don't know, some Eastern European country.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a hard one to place because it's like three different looks in one, right? Like the beard doesn't match the hair. The beard is actually unkempt. The hair is kempt.
Yeah, and the beard's kind of all over the place. We got the button right there is fighting for its life to stay connected. We got the chain. Yeah, the glasses, the whole look. We love him.
Tracy loves him, though. Have you met Tracy?
Everybody loves him. Yes, everybody.
He's the best.
Everybody enjoys him. Well, I shouldn't say everybody. I'm sure there's some Seahawks fans who don't like him. But
if I do, I'll raise the point to him and tell him you said hello. How about that?
Yeah, please do. Franchise tag. It's open. It closes March 4th. What is there? Who's going to be a big name? Is there going to be a big name out there that's going to get franchised? No one with the Seahawks because they never use it. But
they haven't used it before.
I think he's used it once or twice, and I think one time he used it on a kicker. Like he really? Never uses it ever.
I mean, T. Higgins will be which. If I'm sometimes I laugh about the players like, oh, how dare you give me the franchise? I want the long-term deal. If I was a player and I trusted myself, especially if I played at a position I guess quarterback is one of the safer ones with all the rules you've got. But I'm trying to think of like in terms of, if you play out 2 franchise tags and then do a long-term deal, that's awesome. That's the best way to do it. I'd prefer that way. I mean, it's all kinds of evens out, right? Like, let's say you're 4 years in, you do a deal. Yeah, at the end of your 4 years where your rookie deal runs out, we'll say it's a non-first rounder. 1, 2, 3 years. Then you're probably redoing it again versus like you play at the tag, then you do a deal. And at the end of that deal, maybe you get a small one, depending on how long you play. Like it kind of all sort of evens out anyway. There's all this hand wringing and like, oh, this player's not going to be happy because sometimes I think like they tag me. That's great. If I don't sign it, I don't have to show up for anything and I can't get fined.
Right.
That's a good thing. Take the entire spring off. Take training camp off. Take it all off. Who cares? Right? Like
I'm kind of with you. You think Kirk Cousins doesn't like the franchise tag? How much money
Cousins
that
loves
guy?
the franchise
Of course
tag.
he does. He's made so much money over the years.
Oh my goodness. If you could play it out that way, it's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, especially because their first offer, I remember to Kirk, the Washington, whatever they were at the time, was $12.5 million a year. And then he played out a tag up for what was that, 15 and then 20, and then signed a fully guaranteed 3-year deal, which turned into another fully guaranteed deal, which turned into a not a horrible negotiation, which allowed him to go to Atlanta for 2 more guaranteed years. I understand at this point now, it's not about the money. It's about an opportunity to play. And he's upset with everything that went down in Atlanta the way it did. But the Falcons and the way that he played proved that that was the right call for Atlanta. So, it's anyway, we're T. Higgins probably going to be the biggest name in the free or the franchise tag. I saw that the Chiefs are not. I haven't honestly until the back end of the window.
Yeah.
I don't even start to make these calls or ask about these things because nobody gets tagged till the end of the 2-week window anyway. But I saw Trey Smith not going to get tagged is what they're saying out in Kansas City, which makes sense because he's an interior offensive lineman, which it's like the tackles drive the price up. So I was looking at the free agent names. It should be a relatively interesting free agent period. There's enough big names out there, especially Eagles got a couple of guys, Mekhi Becton and Zach Bond. Zach Bond was a 1-year nothing signing and turned himself into an all-pro, double-digit per year kind of guy. It's going to be interesting to see where he lands.
When we go back to the quarterbacks for a second, and we mentioned Matt Stafford, and I'm certainly this is going to apply to Geno Smith, and probably then there's a trickle-down effect with Stafford and then Cousins. Who is the first domino around the NFL that you watch for? Is Stafford the first one to kind of fall, and then everything kind of goes from there?
Yeah, I mean, on the free agent market, it's going to be Darnold.
Yeah.
But you're talking about guys that could potentially be traded. I think Derek Carr, not that he'd be the first target for teams, but he's going to be in that. There are too many teams that need a quarterback, right? Yeah. And Aaron Rodgers is probably going to get a job if he wants a job because there's too many teams that have a need at this point. So, I think the dominoes of, Stafford might not be traded until the start of the league year or something like that, but you may hear that Derek Carr is going to pop free here. You may hear that Kirk Cousins, he's going to be free because Atlanta's saying we're not going to play the game of chicken, although I think they will. They can keep him up and through that roster bonus that they owe him because you see the way the salary cap's going up. I hate to say this, but $10 million is a drop in the bucket if you're holding out for the chance to actually trade a guy rather than just release him. So, it's I think Stafford from the trade standpoint could be the first domino to fall.
Aaron Rodgers, what's his market? I mean, are teams banging down his door, knocking it hard? Hey, we need Aaron Rodgers in our building.
Knocking. I mean, you said 2 different things: banging down and knocking. I think they're knocking. No, I did.
I did.
And it's 2 different things because he's an option for teams if they go, well, we're kind of looking at this guy and this guy. If that doesn't happen, then maybe we'll turn to Rodgers.
Is it worth it? Is it worth all of it
for who? Him?
No, for the team. Is he worth it? Is he worth the headache that comes with Aaron Rodgers and the baggage of it? And
I thought about this because the Jets, supposedly had the conversation with him. There was no ultimatum necessarily of like you need to stop. You can't tell a guy to stop doing interviews, right?
Is that what he was? They asked him. Is that the story? No. They asked him to stop doing McAfee.
They did not.
Okay.
No, they did not. No, it was the whole discussion of like, what's this year going to be like across the board with him, and media and stuff was part of that conversation. Mm-hmm. And then in the end, the Jets were like, you know what? We're just going to cut the cord here. So I think that when the level of play drops and then he goes to his 3rd team and it's not in the New York market, let's just hypothetically, which, and it doesn't make sense to me in a lot of ways, but hypothetically, the Titans, he goes to Tennessee. Okay. That doesn't ring the bell, right? And so doesn't that now take a little bit of the shine away from what he's doing on McAfee and what he's doing elsewhere? And this Netflix documentary. Is it even out yet? I didn't see it. I'm sure a bunch of people didn't watch it.
Oh, well, does he have something coming out about him and his family?
I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
And you know what? I don't have to know.
I'm watching the documentary on Netflix right now about Black Hawk Down. God almighty. You want to watch that one? Jesus.
The movie was enough.
The movie was enough, but this is the real life. I mean, my God.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah.
I didn't know of any I just, it's not worth it for him. His play's diminished, and I don't know why you want to bring him on. He doesn't make the Titans a Super Bowl contender.
He doesn't. That's why I'm saying that didn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But I mean, could he go to LA? Could he be with the Rams? Now that'll raise the
Stafford left to the Giants.
Right. If Stafford goes anywhere, yeah, then could he go to the Rams? Yeah, sure. And he'd probably go there for a lot cheaper. So rather than have to give Matthew Stafford a lot of money, and you feel like maybe Rodgers' production might be on par with that for a much lower number, it could be in the conversation.
Let me ask you a stupid one that you're going to shoot me down, okay? His dream is to play for the 49ers, I bet.
Right.
Would the 49ers ever entertain it?
No. Rather than extend Brock Purdy, no.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay. I'm just curious because he's got the whole draft night. He's from there and finished his career there. But I was just curious about it. I'm with you. He's out of options, and I just don't know why would you want to bring that on? All right. So this whole quarterback stuff, the cap's going up and all that. You start looking around at how much money these guys make. I mean, if you're Geno's, who's got the advantage right now? Is it Team Geno or Team Seahawks? Team Schneider?
Probably Team Schneider. I mean, I don't think Geno's got a lot of. It's just back to where we were a couple of years ago. He doesn't have a lot of options, right? Yeah. So you can pay him. And now you could try to flip that by holding out and playing hardball if you're Geno.
Yeah,
it's hard to not have your quarterback for training camp, right? But in the meantime, do they draft somebody? Do they sign somebody? They got to be understanding that as well, right? So
doesn't he have leverage though over them?
Geno?
Yeah, because he could be his agent and his side could be like, who's your option? Sam Howell? You going to draft somebody?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If they draft somebody and they feel good about it, and that guy winds up getting reps during training camp, it depends. I mean, I would, if I'm them, make the move for a new deal as soon as possible. If I'm Geno, right?
Yeah.
Do it now, because you can see the landscape out there, and you can see there's not enough quarterbacks to fill all the chairs that are open right now.
Has there been any buzz about it at all? About a new deal?
What?
A new deal for Geno?
Not that I've heard, but this is the kind of stuff that can happen at the scouting combine. So I'm sure there'll be meetings there.
7 international games next season.
That's
just another. Are you going to be able to cover? What's the latest one? They're going to Brazil? What's that one I just saw?
Brazil, Ireland, Spain, Berlin, and 3 London. So that's 7. Yeah.
All right. So do you get to go to any of these? And if you could go to, Spain would be the one, right?
London. No, I go to Spain enough. I got a sister-in-law in Spain.
Okay.
Did I say London? Ireland. That's where I want to go.
Ireland. Yeah. Ireland would be a good one.
Yeah. Give me Ireland. Yeah.
That's going to be a rowdy one.
It'll be fun. Bring your clubs.
Yeah, that's right. Bring the clubs.
Yeah. The insiders have been angling to go to Ireland.
You're all golfers.
Yeah, but I'd put it at a 0.0% chance that the 3 of us would be allowed to go. We'd have to be on separate flights, like the president and vice president, right?
Yeah.
You can't put us all 3 of us in the same flight.
Last thing, you're a hockey fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, you watch tonight?
Of course.
Is it appointment setting for you to watch U.S. and Canada?
Yes, and the anthem booing stuff is like, stop.
Oh, God, Jim and we got into this one.
Oh, my God.
No,
what did you say?
He can't understand why the U.S. would be upset, why the players would be upset. And I just tried to explain. I said, well, I don't think it's everything. I don't think that's the whole reason why they started the fight in the first game. But, I mean, you're playing for your country, and the national anthem's playing. And Canada's got every right to boo. I see both sides. I understand why they're booing. I totally get it. And because of the political climate. And
right.
I understand it. But I also understand the players are going like, F, because this had been going on before in the NHL, in the Canadian cities in the NHL. And I get it. They're like, F it. We're going to start a fight right away.
Yeah.
So I get it. I love it. I love all of this.
Well,
I'm not a huge hockey fan, and I'm really looking forward to tonight.
I do appreciate how the national pride, because these guys have not been playing and practicing with each other, right? It's just kind of like, oh, by the way, here's a little mini tournament you got to be ready for.
Yeah.
So it's not a cohesive type thing as if they were getting ready for the Olympics and playing together for 2 weeks. So I do appreciate how it's the drop of a hat that pride was there. I would also say that I would venture to guess the political leanings of that locker room would lean strongly in one direction.
Oh, for sure.
That has led to those
for sure
boos
but I
from
think
the Canadian fans.
I think it's one thing when you put on whatever, the sweater, the jersey, and it has your country across it. There's just something changes in you. I just watched, speaking of documentaries, I just finished the last night the hour and a half one the HBO just did on the team that beat the Dream Team. We beat the Dream Team. It's a great documentary about the 1992 college players that scrimmaged the Dream Team.
Yeah.
And the first scrimmage they beat them, but they don't publicize any of it because they didn't want anyone to know that they beat them. But it's great. And it's just and then the Dream Team comes back and beats them by like 1,000 or something. But just to see how the pride that these guys had, that collection of 10 of the greatest players to ever play in the history of the game.
Yep.
Just put everything aside because they were playing for the country. And
Yep.
it's weird because you see it in baseball, you see it in hockey, you see it in the NBA. It's the one sport that doesn't really ever get to do that is the NFL. They never can do it.
Well, you're talking about the international games, and maybe one day they will. I mean, that's the point of all this, is to grow the game globally. I mean, we may be looking at it one day and saying, like, can you believe the salary cap used to be under 300 million? Now it's up to 700 million.
Yeah.
That's their goal. That's what they want to do. They're on their way. The international stuff is working. I mean, listen, as we get to closer to the 18th game and everybody has an international game, which some of them may wind up being, Toronto or something relatively close, you'd have 16 international games a year. Right now they're at 7. They're halfway there, basically. So.
Well, when Vivian is covering the sport for you, doing your role for the
probably Viv. Probably
new
Viv
look
over
insiders
Carmen,
at the NFL Network covering the Madrid Marauders.
Vivian and Dylan Schefter going at it for scoops.
All right, you're the best. Go back to the kiddos, and we'll talk to you down the line.
You got it. See you,
There he is, Mike Garafolo, NFL Network, all brought to you by Hartley and Hartley Insurance, your trusted family-owned insurance experts in the Puget Sound area since 1978. Honesty, fairness, and integrity. Contact Jamie Hartley, 253-565-8700. Also, Zogs on Fox Island, the perfect spot to grab a cold beer, hang out with friends, and catch the game. Check out Zogs on Facebook and Instagram for their new hours. And again, Mike Garafolo joining us weekly from the Limbach Lumber Studios.